What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to go over the 2022 Kia Stinger GT2 rear wheel drive that we have had for the last week. We just finished doing some performance driving videos, so if you want to see more characteristics or reactions to how well this drives, check out those videos down in the description. We're going to be on a few twisty roads here before we get back to the straight, so we're going to enjoy it one last bit here. Big bump.
So you had this car more than me. You did a lot of daily driving with it.
Yeah, it was a lot of city driving, a little bit of highway, like coming today.
Yeah.
But mainly around the city, and it's a fun car. It's really easy to maneuver. There are a few things. Why don't we start off with the things that I dislike about it in the last week of ownership with this vehicle. Well, let's start off with some of the performance characteristics. So this is a performance oriented vehicle from Kia, but it's not like crazy performance oriented. And what I've noticed is a lot of the performance settings are just push the button and go.
Yeah.
So like sport mode, you just twist the dial, put it into sport mode, go. Launch control, put your foot on the gas, go. There's nothing configurable about like the suspension or adjusting launch control, anything like that.
So yeah,
it's not like that next level.
Yeah, and my perspective of that, the only driving I've done of this was literally just ripping it through the mountain roads right there. It seems like, so the main competitors I would say of this car are going to be the BMW M440i, and then, or just a 4 Series Grand Coupe, and then the Audi A5 Sportback or the S5 Sportback. And the A5 and the 4 Series are going to be, you can get them the same price as this. Those ones are probably going to be a little soft too in the handling, so nothing too crazy. However, an S5 Sportback and an M440 are not that much more expensive. So my perspective is, because you can talk more about the luxuries and the normal stuff.
Yeah.
If you're buying this for a performance car, because we've done a lot of reviews on the Stingers, great car overall, and owners seem to really like them. But if you're actually going to buy it because you do plan on doing mountain road trips, performance stuff, really doing like performance driving, but you need, you know, practical car for the family, the hatchback design and everything, I'd say wait a little bit, save up that extra money, and get the European cars, because those have proper performance and handling to where you can genuinely rip on them, and they're a blast. This one, great car, was fun.
Yeah.
However, the weight of it and the suspension and stuff, it doesn't come together quite as tight as the European cars. And for maybe 10 grand more to get one of them, I personally would spend the extra 6 months or so to save up that extra bit, you know, that little higher payment, and get those. If you're not interested in the extra performance and you just want a luxury, comfortable, really sporty car, get on the highway easily because it's got a lot of power, and you might do some twisties here and there depending on where you live and where you go, might as well save 10 grand and get this, because it is a pretty good option.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We're not knocking this car by any means, but compared to some of the other competitors, like I said, this is Kia's pretty much their only performance.
This is their flagship.
Vehicle.
Flagship car.
Other models like BMW, they've been around. They've had more sporty performance vehicles for years, and this is Kia's first one. So I think it's a really nice blend of what Brian was talking about, as well as just daily driving. I've had this, 6 days now, and it's really nice to drive. We have a lot of creature comforts like the adaptive cruise, all the blind spot. There's even a camera system in the gauge cluster when you put on your turn signals so you don't have blind spots.
Yeah.
We even have heated rear seats, heated and ventilated front seats, so like it's a great daily driver, super solid and comfortable too.
Oh yeah.
Not a lot of road noise or wind noise. It's, like Brian said, more on that luxurious side, without being like overboard.
It's a good,
and then some performance.
Yeah, it's a good entry into that affordable luxury performance car. It doesn't give you everything, but you're not also paying that same price.
Right.
So for the money, I think it's very well worth it. It really depends on what you're really looking for out of this style of car.
Right.
I think the most people who are going to buy this, 90% of them, this is what you want. This is going to be great. However, the 10% of you that might buy this because you really think it's an extra performance-y car, that's where I was going in driving this, because I've seen all the comments of you guys. I've driven it around town. I'm like, man, this got some power. Brembo brakes. People comment saying it's a great performance car. From me driving hundreds of cars, it didn't have that level of performance that I would expect.
Right.
And I would spend the extra money for the European cars because that's what I want in a car.
Yeah.
But like I said, if you don't want it though, it has all the daily driver characteristics that are more than you need, like everything you need.
Yep, it's really nice too. All the brushed aluminum, it gives you that more upscale look for a car like this, if that's what you want. Two other points that I have that are kind of not really major. when you walk up to the vehicle, it greets you by folding out the side mirrors because they're power folding. I believe they have a spotlight under them too, which kind of helps if you're walking up to it at nighttime, but it doesn't unlock the car. So like on a BMW, you can walk up to it, it has that gesture or whatever, that greeting where it'll do that and unlock if you're within the proximity of it. So maybe for the technology, it's a little bit less. That's something that's not included. I haven't been able to find it in here at all.
Yeah.
And then when you close the rear hatch, there's no lock button and close. It's just close it.
So you have to dig your pocket and get the key.
Yeah, and there's no close on the key fob. It's just open.
Huh.
So is that a big point? Probably not, but if you're using this every day, you're constantly going back in there, closing it, having to find your key, it's going to be something that might be a little bit annoying, I could say.
I guess I can see that for the daily use.
It's like a sports car not having the button on the back to pop the trunk open. It's like, it's not going to deter you from buying this vehicle, but it's just something like, it is what it is, I guess. But that's pretty much it.
So those are your only real complaints?
My only real complaints, and they're not anything major for the week that I've been in this.
Yeah. Storage space also seems pretty adequate in it. You have the door panels here, glove box is good. Up front, has a glove box or center console.
Oh, I guess my last one would be there's no sunglass holder.
Yeah.
This is a whole blank space of really nothing.
Yeah.
And that would be nice because you can put them somewhere instead of...
I have mine in the glove box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would be it.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, storage is really nice.
So I think our kind of takeaway, because my only takeaway is the performance, because that's all I've driven in it. I craved more out of it. I like the power, though. It's got plenty of power. I've seen these, you can modify them. You can do an exhaust just to make it louder, of course.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of aftermarket goodies you can do to make these quicker. But I would say your first thing, really got to fine-tune the suspension. Like, upgrade the suspension. I think it needs an adaptive suspension, or at least some handling package to give you that, like, actual handling of a performance sedan, I would say.
We already have the Brembo brakes. Add the suspension, like it's there, but it's
almost
not
like they almost hit it all. They got the power, they got the transmission, they got the drivetrain, all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, they got the brakes. We just need something better for suspension, I think.
Yeah.
That's my biggest complaint as far as a performance perspective. But normal driving, as a passenger, has been comfortable. Good view out. The rear window's a little small. I noticed that when I was just driving in normal. Yeah. Other than that, though, I mean, really good visibility,
not too bad.
I would say.
Yeah. We have the 360 camera, wireless charging, like everything is there without going overboard. Like I mentioned earlier, how nothing is configurable. It kind of gives you everything, kind of touching on those points without diving into each one as much.
Yeah, like the gauge cluster, it's got a screen in the center and then analog gauges.
Yeah.
But the screen in the center gives you what you need. I think can navigation pop up there as well, I believe?
I believe so. You can bring up the compass, you can bring up your...
So you'll get your turn-by-turn on that, and then your safety settings.
Yeah.
So it gives you what you need. It doesn't go above and beyond, but then again, you're not spending that extra 10 grand. So.
Right. There's a trade-off between what you really need and what you want, what you're using the car for.
I think that's what kind of Kia, and every time we drive a Kia, that it's the same conclusion. They give you what you want and what you need for a really good price for what it is.
Right.
It's a good, affordable car to get into, and this is a great way to get into a family sedan with the extra hatchback space, but have that performance touch without going too overboard in cost. You're not getting everything because you're not spending all the money for it either.
Right.
But you get a lot of what you're going to use 90% of the time, I'd say.
Oh yeah, it's a really good blend. It's kind of like how BMW doesn't have a lot of configurability, but they give you all of those sporty characteristics, which is the next level from this. This is kind of sporty, performance-oriented, but on a lower level of what they give you to use.
This is certainly a budget version of the M440 and the S5.
Yeah.
It's the car that you want those maybe, but you're like, extra 10, 20 grand, am I really going to use that extra whatever it has? If the handling isn't what you're looking for, then I wouldn't buy those, because other than that, why spend 10 grand more just to have a big screen in the center or something like that, gimmicky stuff?
Yeah.
So that's my only takeaway, I guess.
But it's a sharp-looking car.
I love the look.
The exterior is really not like any other vehicle, I would say. It's kind of...
It does a good job.
Kind of unique in a sense.
I mean, if you compare it to the 440, the Grand Coupe, the S5 Sportback, they all have those same lines, that fastback look. Yeah. I think Kia did a great job blending it all together. It doesn't look too big. The proportions aren't weird or anything. It's definitely a sporty looking car, and I think the interior kind of matches that. It has a good use of material.
There's some plastic here. It blends in well for the interior of this.
Yeah.
But I think that's our thoughts. for the Kia Stinger.
Yeah, not a bad option for sure for the money.
It's definitely been fun, but we would like to see a little bit better suspension, maybe a little bit louder with the modes, just to give it, I don't know, that next level.
Yeah,
so maybe if they came out with like the Scorpion as the next level.
Yeah, give it a performance package that takes it to the next level, to where side-by-side S5 Sportback 440i, where you actually say, why would I spend 10 grand more to get the same thing?
Right.
So if we can get a little bit of a performance package on it, then it's spot on.
Yeah.
Aside from that, though, great option to save yourself a couple bucks to get something that probably is gonna do everything you needed to do.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun for sure. But I think that's gonna wrap it up for our week with the 2022 Kia Stinger GT2. Give the video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you check out the other videos that we made on this, as we had it for a week. So those will be down in the description, or check out our channel and consider subscribing so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. We will see you all in the next video.